Right with the rising sun, really sad if I don't singing sweet song. Melodies pure and true, singing singing the world how to sing. Everything gonna be alright. Singing the world how to sing. Everything. Designed to deploy in minutes, Avic is cloud-based software that lets you manage the network from anywhere. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Preacher man, I'm telling you, heaven is on the earth. And I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's a thought that Peter is gold. After story had never been told. So now you see the light. Stand up for your right. Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Most people think rain God will come from the sky. Take away everything and make everybody feel high. All life is worth. You will look for your birth. See the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Your right. Get up, stand up, can't give up the fight. Stand up for your right. Lord, Lord, get up, stand up. Keep on standing on. Don't give up the fight. Yeah. Sick and tired of it, isn't killing any kind of go to heaven in Jesus' name, Lord. We know when we understand. Mighty God. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome you to the Citizen Show, a show that was born by an idea given to us by the Spirit of God. And this being another important session, we intend to sustain it for a very long period of time. So if you are not listening to us now, we can assure you that this platform that was created for us to have conversation on issues that continue to impact our society negatively. And Mr. Gray and I, coupled with some other Liberian citizens in the diaspora, especially in the United States, who still feel their heart, stay back home, they still love their people, they honestly will struggle, they know what it means to from nowhere. And we are on this side, this part of the world, trying to make life what we want it to be for ourselves and for others. And so, given the kind of way our society has been cultural over the years, 170 years, There are a lot of issues that continue to prevent the growth and development of that country. And so this platform, we want to continue to encourage every Liberian in the diaspora. You have something to give. We all got something to contribute to the building of that country. We all got something to do that will change the country from where it is. And I always told my comrades that there are reasons for which God allows some of us to shift to the other side of the globe. And some most of our brothers will come on the side and just, because they don't have the means to let their voice be heard, and they are very important to the economic environment over there. Most of our brothers in the diaspora here continue to take care of their families back home, continue to invest in the economy directly and indirectly. But indirectly, the government is not respecting them because they don't live in this country. The government is not taking their voice for serious because they feel they are outside the country and having benefit. But I can assure that the government and every Liberian around the world, that Liberia in the diaspora, especially in the United States and Europe, who are contributing significantly to the cash flow in the Liberian society. You understand? And so this platform is there for us to continue on the conversation and that empower our people, so that we all will encourage everybody to take advantage of the numbers that are on the screen. If you want to share your opinions on the topic, you can come up. But Mr. Gray and myself will be having a kind of a conversation on what it is we need to do and what it is that that our people are faced with now, and so forth. And so, I said, Mr. Graham, um, law enforcement in Liberia is a very serious problem, and the security of any country is paramount to it. It has impact on the investment climate. No investor will want to take their money in an environment where the citizens themselves, their security is not prioritized by their own government. I believe the government of Liberia, the Liberia National Police, their current crackdown, I believe, to some extent, we just put our society into more trauma. I believe they should focus on crime prevention than crime than crack down on crime. You see, in recent time, when the issue of defunding the police in the United States was raised, you will understand that people had a different understanding of it because they were trying to portray an idea that will make it look like the police will not be giving money to operate. And these were the kind of concept that went to the public. But I think the real understanding of the situation was that the police will not have a lot of resources directed to areas that will arm them to fight crime. But instead, these resources, whether managed by the police or the state or the city, will be used in crime prevention. As you say, you go into the Wu community, the ghetto community, you carry basic social services there. They got everything they need there. I tell you, even poor people can buy food. You don't know that? If you carry a grocery store to these very slum area, because the slum area, that place that the people live, they want to have life, but opportunity is not available there. They cannot pay if you as a police can see the need that you provide social security for the community, you know, and before people graduate from that level of crime, you know, that they will want to go at other people because they don't have the opportunity they have, and they blame society, which is not right. I'm not supporting the fact that people should not work hard and go jump on other people for their hard-earned, you know, labor. That doesn't make no sense. I don't even encourage for anybody to go after people who work hard day and night and get their resources and go around their play or put them on a gunpoint. That is barbaric, and those things can only be done by people who are under the influence of demons, not real human beings. So I will not support that. But on the other hand, if you have a society like Liberia, where for 175 years plus, all we've been is we've been replicating poverty, we've been reproducing poverty as a country. For 175 years, we have never done anything productive as a country, but to continue to reproduce poverty. And that's the society we have for ourselves. That's the society we have for ourselves. And who do you expect to change it? You think running after these guys, we need to go to the root cause of these things. We need to deal with the issue from the root cause. And to deal with it from the root cause, the first thing you need to do, these criminals that are put behind bars a few days because we've been seeing the police killing criminals, putting their graphic photo on social media, trying to let the public know, the international community know that they have a crackdown on crime in the country, and they are going after all the criminals, and they will make sure that there will be a crime-free society. You think that is realistic? Number one, looking at the kind of justice system that we got, you think that is realistic? You know, let me just say this today. Whether people listen to it or they don't listen, or they do listen to it, one day you listen to it because you go on rebel. We gotta stop playing with ourselves as a country and a people. We gotta stop playing with ourselves. Because if we don't come to our consciousness to believe, to realize that certain effort we putting into place will only last for the temporary, and we'll still have a situation to deal with. If we don't come to realize that, we will always be in the same cycle going up and down. We gotta do things for generation. We gotta think long term. Let's look at the justice. Let's look at the correction system. Let's look at how the law is being applied in our country. Before we go to the police, let's look at crime within the police itself. The Liberia National Police, crime, corruption. How do you expect people who don't have integrity to want to, you know, they say the message may be right, but the messenger, you know, what kind of public surety that we will have as Liberians, that you, the police, are in charge. Well, right within your own rank, there are people committing crimes. The justice is bent to only people that is outside your range. Now, who knows? We're not saying your kid, somebody will put gun near there and want to say, oh, the person was a robber and this and that. We're not saying that, because we know you guys, the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, I don't know him in person, but I think he's a professional guy who got passion for the job he does. Yeah, I can see him, but he tried to go overboard to impress the public. I understand, but sometimes you gotta look within your own rank. You gotta start cleansing from right around him and start making things right going outside. Because not just getting the crime, killing the people, bringing the violation to the public will stop that crime. When people are prosecuted and placed behind bar, let it say their sentence. Nobody will just come and go free criminals and put them in the street, and because of political affiliation or political attachment, you let a person to be a free person in society. That's crime. It's okay. I don't know. This is just my 1 cent, 2 cent about the whole police and law enforcement. Liberia is a lawless society. I don't know why you think about this.
Yeah, Mr. Jala, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity again. As always, we will be out here to have the kind of conversation. Um, for me, listening to all of what you have said is, I cannot distance myself from everything you did say. But what I would like to start with is we need to understand, when we're talking about law enforcement in Liberia, and how can law enforcement impact investment opportunity in the country is something that's very, very interesting for me, because I believe when you talk about law enforcement, there are certain responsibilities that come with law enforcement. And if you want to look at that, you can say, yeah, that law enforcement, they are responsible for maintaining public order, and safety. They are also responsible for enforcing the law. They are also responsible for preventing and also detecting. But more important in my mind, law enforcement is also responsible for investigating criminal activities in the country. You know, so when you establish that background, then you understand what really our law enforcement officers or institutions actually doing in Liberia. Are they maintaining the peace and security that we have yearned for all of those years, after 14 years of civil unrest in the country? What can be done to better law enforcement in Liberia? We have come a long way, and as you said in your opening statement, you said that the peace and security of that country, of Liberia, lies squarely in the hands of Liberians. Each and every one of us are responsible for the growth and development of that country, be it in the diaspora or in Liberia, and we are also responsible for maintaining the peace that we have enjoyed for the period of time. But when it comes to investment environment, when it comes to attracting investment, law enforcement plays a major role. When you have a kind of fragile security environment, when you have people uh, being murdered, and there is no clue as to how they were murdered, when you have people going missing and end up being there on the other side of the city and so forth like that, that is really, really alarming for those who are looking to invest in Liberia, even Liberians in the diaspora and other part of the world. They look in terms of those stuff. We had similar things in the earlier government. There was peace and stability for a very long period of time, but then you start to see the manhunt of individuals. You saw the issue of a few individuals being found dead on the beach of certain on the beach. You saw individuals being found dead in certain areas in hotels and so forth like that. Those things are panicking. Those things instill fear in the environment. You understand? And this is where now law enforcement has to do what it can to be able to produce investigative report that will not just hide as to what really transpired, but be able to tell the Liberian people what is actually happening and how can they better the situation. And you see, it is very challenging for law enforcement when they don't have the necessary equipments and tools to carry out their work. Having a car, having a park of vehicles to use is not just the beginning instrument of law enforcement. You need a lot of other things that come with making a law enforcement very effective in our country and in any country as a whole. We don't have a well digitalized camera system that is employed by law enforcement. So a lot of times you see crimes in the street and police are actually clueless of how these things are happening. When the police, the one that is to protect public safety, the one that is to protect citizens, the one that is to protect law and order in the country, are unaware of what is actually happening in the country, it instill panic in the environment, and that is a deterrent to investors looking to move into the country. Also, you see, policing is for sure is very, very, very essential. I will tell you that in the great United States of America, the American police, part of that responsibility, and I'm saying this, I will tell you why I'm saying that. Part of that responsibility include actually providing basic social services in communities and to be able to maintain order. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying basic social services. That's general, but you have police in this country having certain events to invite the community that they serve, so that the community will get to know who they are as a law enforcement officer, and that they are here for the people, that they are not just here to deter would-be violators, but they are also here to protect the people. So there is a kind of conduit of friendship that have been developed between citizens in the community and that of the police officer. We have seen over the past months that some have gone by. It has been a struggle as to getting hold of the police, and they are being reformed. There have been calls made from a lot of individuals, stakeholders as well, to reform the policing in this country. So the thing is, we got to look at similar thing like that in Liberia. Are the police engaging communities? Are there community police engagement taking place? Because if the citizens of certain community or citizens in the country cannot entrust the police, then it becomes a problem. So that's one thing that I believe needs to be done. Policing needs to go down to the community level, wherein they can interact with citizens in the community, so that it can develop that trust and confidence that will encourage people to report crime. We want to encourage people to report crime to the police. But what we also got to be careful of is that and I will speak to this. Of recently, we had the issue of the Secretary General of the ruling Unity Party, Mr. Mo Ali, who may posted some statements on his Facebook page. And a lot of people have been calling that as the freedom of speech to post things onto his page, which of course is his right. And it's also the right of the police if they see statement that if he could incite violence, it is the right of the police to also invite individuals for questioning. You understand? So the individual has his own right, and the police has their own constitutional right. If they see something inciting in their mind, they could call you for interrogation. That doesn't negate the fact that through interrogation means you are guilty or you are found as blemish of a crime. Where thing goes wrong is when there are choice of words being interplay into the situation. When I was listening, I read that I believe it was the police inspector general or the spokesman of the police for saying that Mr. Mo Ali was wanted. You see, when you use the word, he's a wanted individual. He was wanted and so forth like that. Those are hardcore war in policing. Let me just say this, because when you say wanted, in a lot of people's mind means what is actually mean by wanted when an individual is wanted by law enforcement. When you look at that,
Well, before you go, let me just inject. The people say wanted because when you were invited for a conversation, he did not show up on the invitation, and the time passed for the police due period for invitation. So then it means they have to go after you. So that's why they declared him wanted. But I don't think
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
you
Let me
know
let me just yeah. According to the sources, according to the sources that I received, it was the lawyer of Mr. Ali made himself available under the things that Mr. Ali was not feeling too well. However, he had shown him come out to represent Mr. Ali to get the basic stuff. And arrangement was being made. You see, when you say somebody is actually wanted, a wanted person in my mind can be a person who is either convicted or accused of a crime, and that person is hiding. He wasn't really accused of a crime. He made a statement, and they wanted to interrogate him based on that statement. You understand? So the fact that he didn't show up, and his lawyer show up, according to the source that I received, that the lawyer show up to let them know that he's going to be coming, but he's not to feel it too well and so forth like that. And so that actually stir up things. Sometimes minor things that take place in our country, uh, people try to score what they call political points from other side, and that is something that we got to be very cognizant of. This is not about actually scoring political points. If the police is in need of an individual or is looking to question an individual, if there's no crime committed, well, just go ahead and talk to the police, and so forth. But people are always looking for stuff to escalate things so that they can use that as a political gain or win here and there. And then one thing, the police has to stay away from no kind of politicking. You know what I'm saying? The police is not a partisan institution. The police is an institution, an independent institution in place to serve the public. You understand? So it can allow yourself to fall prey to such a caricature or situation like that in the country. So I'm only saying this to say that we have to be careful with how we proceed on things. I understand that there was a situation that led to them inviting him, and so forth like that. If there was a lawyer that make show him face and stuff, the lawyer is a representation until the lawyer can tell you exactly how this going to play out and so forth. Just play out like that, and so forth. But I'm saying that is where policing now has to reach the community, like I said earlier to you, Mr. Jala. It has to go down to the community level.
Mr. Graham.
Yes,
One
I'm
thing
here.
from what you said, for me to agree with you on this conversation is to say that the police sometimes they can really give some people they can make some mistake that politicians can score political points on. If you see what happened here now, they made a sluggish mistake. They made a sluggish mistake. This mistake, people are taking advantage of it to get political dividend. Going to the stand, calling the man wanted. You know the man, you know it will not amount to nothing. And then at the end of the day, your man blood water here. You bring whole lot of politics into police. I think I agree with you on that fact that they were very sluggish. They make more Ali now to get undue relevance because of their lack of understanding how to deal with root causes of problem. Now, another thing I want to bring up, the way in which Honorable Yeke Koluba continued to insult the office of the presidency. I got nothing against Mr. Koluba. Koluba. He has the right to his view. He's supposed to stand to advance his view as forceful as he wants to do that and use the law in favor, but at least for record, for preaching for the next generation of leader. You can continue to insult the president. I mean, whoever that man was to you, that man was elected by the Liberian people. He represents millions of people. Insulting the millions of people is not fair. You can be in a position as a leader tomorrow. You can be president of this country. You want anybody to be insulting you like that? Mr. Kolba? I mean, the police can take that provocation.
Yeah,
President can take those provocations.
yeah,
Why is it
Mr.
that? Go ahead, Mr. Green.
Yeah, let me just say something just quick. You see, that is the in the absence of true leadership, in the absence of people lack knowledge of what true leadership is all about. This is why you end up seeing you see people use profanity at all levels to justify a point when they could intellectually discuss the issue that they want to share with the public. This is not new. We saw this during the Ellen administration. We saw certain individuals who were being very, very uh profound. They'll be very, very profane. They use profanity at the presidency, you know what I'm saying? And what they don't tend to understand is that the individual that is in that position, the position is bigger than the individual. So the position makes the individual of that reputation. So whoever the Liberian people decide to be their leader, we gotta understand as individuals to respect that position. You like it or not, you have to respect that position. You may disagree with fundamental differences. You may disagree with philosophy. You may disagree on how they're doing things. But that doesn't give you the right to insult any individual, even if they're below. If they're below you, it doesn't give you the right. It's like saying you have an employer, and every time you go to work, the employer is just abusing you, insulting you, that you can do your work. There are channels, there are procedures you go through that can say, hey, that person is now doing that work. But that doesn't have to go that far of people using profanity. You know what I'm saying? For me, when people use profanity to express themselves, I see that as an ineptitude when it comes to leadership. That there's something missing, and this is how you try to express yourself to hide behind ineptitude.
Mr. Grant, you see, when Mune appealed to Honorable Koruba to elevate his argument and stop using profanity on the public radio, because the young kids that are watching him in our country, he's not setting good example for them. There's no good example Yaka Koruba is setting. I mean, he's a guy that people believe in his resoluteness, and people have got their right to believe in who they want to believe in based on the way they impact their lives. Nobody taking that away from Koruba. But hey, the point is, Honorable Koruba, when somebody is elected as a leader of a country, they're not ordinary person again. They're not ordinary person again. They represent a vast majority of the people, whether you vote for them or not, whether you like them or not. They are your representative in the international world. And we keep insulting this man. And the
For me,
Liberian police can take this provocation, but there are more Ali provocation they couldn't take. What the essence of even inviting Mo Ali? Look at the position of the threat. They say they got low risk threat, they got medium risk threat, they got high risk threat. Evaluate all the three real threat. The threat that the man put to you, which one the category in? In medium, in low, in high. Based on that, you decide if it's in low, it will be based on the fact that maybe the man he got no military background. one, two, three. Okay, say he got no military background, he doesn't got a new arm, he ain't able to bring war or he ain't able to encourage anything.
But
Okay, secondly, we can still make it a low threat, but what we'll do, we'll be monitoring him. We'll monitor his activity, we'll keep surveillance on him to see whether his activity got military or covert intent.
Mr.
What
Jala,
people
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question. Why is it up to now we don't have a camera system at our government ministry and agencies?
what you mean when you say camera system? You're talking about the
Why we don't
CCTV.
have camera system in place that can record people coming in and leaving out? Just simple stuff. Why we don't have it? Why we don't have it?
I mean, I think as based on my understanding, the reason why they don't it's not that they don't want it. I don't think that they don't want it, but I think it doesn't seem to be a priority for them. So even if they get money now, they got a whole number of things that are more relevant to them than that.
No, but in my mind, Mr. Jala, in my mind, if this thing has been done, right? If we had those things in place, right? In my mind, then you wouldn't have been speculating on who did what. You understand? That would be that you won't be giving relevance to people that don't need the relevance. Because now law enforcement will have access to those stuff. I believe every government agency should have a camera, of recording camera, or video camera in place. Let's forget about the street. Let's forget about the main street. But government institutions, building offices should have those things, entering and exit. It should have that.
My man, there's no security in our country. There's no security. The LMP just going after the people that they know, that their own money, they let them go out, cause trouble, let noise on their body few days, and the beginning say no, that one part of the country hard. We'll try will kill one another. And then, I don't know. I just try to sell a scenario. But whatever the case is, the LMP might likely be trying to create an impression that will be short lived, and which is seriously consequential. How will you make the Liberian people believe that by killing these robbers, it will put an end to armed robbery? You think so? It will put an end to armed robbery. Now, the thing we must fix is our law and order in the country have been paralyzed for decades. Law and order in Liberia are paralyzed for decades. And since Marceli took over, I think her time was for setting the institution into place, creating reformation of policy to meet international standards, and sending people to school, getting the human resource capacity upgraded. Marcel, you are working on a whole lot of things. Now, the issue now that has to do with applying the law or implementing was left to the next government. Was left to the next government. But you see, when politics is placed before the people interest in governance, then stagnation is inevitable. Stagnation will be inevitable because your popularity before the people interest. Who won't get what? Who won't get what? You keep the people hungry for long. Then when you see them one time, you get them something that will only buy food for a day. The next day they get hungry again, they gotta look for you. It's that kind of static, you know. And you don't build a prosperous society like you. When you're building a society that will be prosperous, you got to create leaders, make more leaders. And this government, I think they had the best chance to make things work, especially in the security sector. The armed forces will turn over to them. The police, they all made train a lot of experts in the police, they turn it over to them. All these security apparatus were already in place. I think when it took over, there were additional people even added to the police that were not vetted for political reasons. They were hired, and some of the people have character deficit. They all being recruited back into the Liberian National Police. So many people were criminals. So what is the ethical standard of the Liberian National Police? We want to hear from the police spokesman to understand how ethical they are. How have they been dealing with interprofessional issues? You understand? What we got stories, we got information about people in police uniform robbing people at night in Liberia. How credible is the police? You understand? We need to see the police standing very tall in integrity. And we gotta talk so. In as much we want the best from the police, I think the government need to look at putting money into these like you must talk about the justice. There's a need to spend money where money is deserved. You gotta invest in the police to assure people security. And investing in the police, we can decide whether we want to invest in the enforcement side or want to invest in the prevention side of crime. Whatever side we choose, but we have to have the police equipped to deal with issues. And some of these things also the police too. Most of the men that at the end of the day they will have to compromise with criminals. You know, these are people. Yeah, Mr. Gray just go on. I think you'll be back. You know, these are people that if you get in a criminal justice system, the system will be compromised. And I always tell people, I said between your and Liberia, all of us something to give to that country. And one thing I know, only Liberians can help to develop Liberia. So all the time we're looking outside the international community, we're looking outside to the IMF, we're looking outside to the United States, we're looking outside to other countries. I can tell any Liberian, it would take only Liberians to develop Liberia. On a serious note, all because I'm of the conviction that all that we require as a people in our nation for our prosperity, Mr. Gray is coming by. Mr. Gray, welcome. For our security, for our progress, will come from within us. And some of the platform that we creating to be talking, some people you don't want to listen to us. People will listen to us. If you don't want to listen to us, people will listen to us. But the point we're making here is only Liberians can develop Liberia. The dependency syndrome that one government to another way inheriting, looking outside for help when everything we need for our prosperity, for our security, for our progress is within us,
Mm.
Liberians. The only thing that's happening against us is the way we look at one another and treat one another. If we start caring for one another again, if we start thinking about the well-being of one another again, I can tell you the good in us will start coming on. Liberians are great people. I can tell you this. And one thing I will also say, Mr. Grace is having issue today online because he's coming in from a mobile phone. Yeah, so but one thing I will say to our great audience today is that you may not agree with me, you may not accept my view on some things, but this is a conversation platform we have developed to talk about Liberia, to talk about people, to exchange our ideas and our views, to have a conversation on the impact of policymakers, the decision of policymakers on our people. You know, so it's not about me. You may not like me or like Sonny, but we are Liberians. We are all brothers and sisters. We got to care for one another. We can't look at one another with a kind of a hatred eye. We don't want to see this person or in your mind you got some perception about the person. You know, we got to give people the benefit of the doubt. We got to do that. And I can tell any Liberian, you know, that each one of us are a vital part of building that country. Nobody is left out. If we don't take hatred out of our way, we will not achieve nothing. Our children will come and they will meet the same situation there. So that's why this generation will want to be having a conversation about how we can upgrade our ideas. We can talk. Even in America, one thing I've noticed about the people education in America here is that they teach people how to think. They teach people how to think in the West. But for us, they teach us how to memorize, how to study what they wrote for us to pass. Look at this recent stuff that happened here in America about George Floyd or so. They have people from Harvard University now wanting to understand why such a problem came and what community or what society can do the next time to prevent it. They are studying real life thing and bringing solution on the table while we study things way in the past. We got to sit down and understand our situation as Liberia. We got to understand what confront us now. We got to put it before us and accept ideas to make it better that will benefit all of us. We're too selfish. The selfishness in that country and more others too much. And that's why some people can be so proud. They feel so good when they ride 135,000 car, 75,000 car on the street of Monrovia. They see other people cheering there, holding cold water bag on the between cars selling. That wickedness there. Wickedness. That's the definition of wickedness. When you can't feed the pain of other people, when you are insensitive to the plight of other people, that's the kind of society we build. How far you think we can go to that? You know, and I want to commend the honorable Darks DeLong for his recent bill that has to do with the dual citizenship. A couple of our brothers had issue with this bill. Even myself, when I was back home, when you from Liberia, you from that angle, you always see things differently unless being given the opportunity to look at things from the other side. But when you from that angle, you see things very differently. And honestly, uh, they got a lot of Liberians that left that country and in pursuit of better opportunity that were compared to take citizenship because they want to take advantage of certain privilege as a citizen of a country. And that shouldn't prevent them from having the opportunity to give back what they want to give back to their country of nativity. I think it's not fair. And I think that's a wrong mindset. I think that's a selfish mindset. It's not because you're not in a position to have another citizenship that provides you opportunity to improve yourself. It means those that are benefiting from such an opportunity shouldn't have the right you have you share with them by being born in our country. That's not fair. And we can't develop the country to that. You know, these are some of the things we need to deal with. And honestly, congratulations, Mr. Dillon, for that bold step that the Liberians that are born Liberians should never be deprived of their citizenship at birth because you can't get that from no country, no matter who you are. Some of the people that even get that other citizenship by paper, some other country can take it back from you, but nobody can take your citizenship by birth from you. So if you want to take it away from somebody because they're not in the country, they got other opportunity, I don't think that's a fair way to think. I think we should open the country up to the best mind to people who want to create opportunities for other people to. We should open the country up. We should allow Liberians who are naturalized in other countries to come. We can create clause and things there that they can have certain amount of investment, in the country in order for them to be able to, you know, to 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 run for higher office or to be able to do something that is of political relevance. So but most importantly, I don't think it was a good idea. And looking at the way we want the investment climate to be prepared, you see, quite recently, you will notice that when December is coming around, a lot of Liberians from all around the world will flock into Liberia, carrying um, foreign direct capital back cash, and some of them spending a lot of money in the country. And that will tell you that Liberian in the diaspora love their country. There's something about Liberia that is attached to every Liberian bro. You know, so the security of that country, and we've been hearing all kind of death of people in the street. We've been hearing all kind of killing, and the police has not been equipped to have the detective logistics that will be able to have crime specimens that can go to lab for investigation. You know, so you see anybody somewhere, you will not even know. And another thing, the biometric system in the country. They talk about the biometric. Some of the important of the biometric will be for security reasons. The biometric helps to, to, to help enhance your security surveillance, on crime. You see, here in America, why don't everybody do the biometric? Because if there's anything that happens, they got detectives that come, they will take they will take specimen because every crime when it occur, it leave behind a lot of things. So those things and the detectives have lab that they can use to link people to them at the time of the crime. You know, so if the LNP can have those sophistication where they have we go to the extent where we get everybody biometric card. We can use that for election, Mr. Gray, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, use that for election. We can use that for police investigation. We can use that for plenty things.
Yes, Mr. Jara, yes, you are absolutely right. You see, law enforcement, that's the foundation. That's the fundamental of law enforcement. You put certain things in place so that when these crimes happen, it won't make you to start scratching your head and start looking all over the place to see who did what. That's why we say that every agency, government agency, should have a security camera in place, mounted in place. You understand? So at least government institutions are the most targeted institution around the world. You understand? Because people feel like government is ill treating, and whatever the case might be, they target government institution. So why will you not put a security surveillance at the ministry? That alone is the beginning of saying, hey, when something happen over here, we will be able to go to the surveillance. You understand? To see what happened. Then you're talking about biometric. Now, when people are found guilty of crime, heinous crime, and so forth like that, you can use that system to document them. So even if they go back in society and they are actually rehabilitating in society and so forth, there's still a record of who this person is. And then you decide at what level do we erase this record of this person? At what level? Because some cases even young commit crimes and so forth. So at what level do we erase that? When you got that in place, it's going to help the security apparatus in our country. I'm telling you, since Omil left Liberia, there have been series of trainings and so forth, but the apparatus, the equipment, the tools that are needed are very inadequate in our law enforcement area. As such, it is. We got a lot of smart men, like you said. The police inspector general. There are a lot of smart people in the police, in law enforcement. But if you don't have the necessary tool to make that work easier, it's gonna be a problem. Why you think over here we have video camera, we got security surveillance at stores. You can't go, and the reason they put that in there is not just for the customer, it's for people who might think on hideous crimes. That make the police work much easier. We have the doorbell camera, right? The it's a doorbell camera now they have in place. You could install it on your door, and when people ring your doorbell, they can be captured on your phone. All of those things are put in place, and it's linked. It's actually linked to the police department of that community. In actuality, they work along with the software developer. So as you buy that camera, the police have access to that camera that you install on your door. So they are monitoring the community through that means. So this is law enforcement working with software engineers as well as working with the communities. It makes the policing work much more easier. Policing is challenging, my brother. So we in the 21st century, you gotta find technology to make that work easier. Police are not patrolling, law enforcement are not patrolling 24/7. They can't be in real life, Mr. Jala, and be in Douala at the same time. You understand? They are sending patrol troops. The country is small, but we don't have the necessary equipment and stuff to get the guys everywhere at the same time. So with the help of technology, you understand? With the help of technology, it will be able to keep them on front of the task at hand.
We understand technology will come in because for me here, I'm a student at this, so that's my issue. But the main issue trying to bring forth to the Liberian National Police is, I think we have talked about a lot of their flaw and the issue of accountability and integrity. They are not being able to uh, use the media to bring that up. We have not seen that aspect in the media. How accountable the police with the internal control system of things. But the police need to be funded in Liberia. And when you see the police to be funded, sometimes people look at the government look at their revenue. When you say the people need to be educated in the country, the government look at their they look at their budget. What kind of people? What kind of society is that? I can feel sorry for Liberians. The kind of people, the small clique of people that are running that country, small gang of men, small gang of men running that country. We don't want to call their name because we don't want to be controversial because we believe in uniting our nation and healing the country. We don't want to follow devour ourselves. But there are few gang of men that are running that country. I want to believe that President Weah is a good president. President Weah is a good man. President Weah got a good plan for that country. But the gang of people around him, they, they make him, they giving him an impression that he has threat against his own people from historical clue. So they're doing that to indirectly control things. And they keep messing things up, keep messing things up, keep messing things up. Then, when it reached to a place now, the president said one gave up. They said, remember, where are you going? You can't resign, you can't do anything, you embarrassed, and you get hanging in. That's how the president, guys, in a gang in Liberia. He needs to emancipate himself from them. He needs to, nobody want to kill him. Nobody want to kill him. Nobody want to put open blood on their head in the public in that country. No Liberian. The people love that man. And he has said love his country. But he need to identify the few gang of men that are running that country with him. And move from out of that control. Don't let them fool you with the threat of death. That, oh, the people want to kill you, the people want to, nobody want to kill you. That they don't pass it around among people today. So you mean tomorrow when the main president, the people want to kill him now? I mean, sometimes the way we think as leaders and impact the decision we made.
Absolutely.
And impact the decision we
Absolutely.
made.
That
So,
is why I think.
well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Brown. That is why I said earlier. I think in our last segment, I said the issue of Africa being a dark continent is not because we don't have electricity. It's not because we cannot create electricity within our continent, but it's because of the poverty of our mind. And when you have a leader thinking in that direction, that doing campaign, you were among the people, you were sleeping with the people, you were over there, they didn't kill you. But now you become the president, they're gonna kill you. For me, it's just mind-boggling. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you don't take necessary precautions, but for me, it's mind-boggling. If you're doing right by the people, if your people will continue to love you. You know what I'm saying? I think the presidency is a servant position. We always say that it's a servant position. You are obligated to serve the people. And when you serve the people to the best of your ability, the people will love you in return. But just another thing, on the issue of law enforcement, I'm gonna bring it back there. I think in my mind, Mr. Jada, I think there has to be uh, a revision of law enforcement all about in our country. I think they are crime on crime. You know how they got black on black crime? I believe they are crime on crime in law enforcement. There are some criminals within that unit. There are great people in that unit, but there are also some criminals that are in that law enforcement community that are that are that are fostering some of the crimes. Beyond seen. You understand? But it is disheartening to crack down on criminals at the same time, and that lead to that murder or that death, and then we are posting that on Facebook. That is not a good sign for our country. Those kind of behavior need to stop. You know what I'm saying? it need to be discouraged. This is not what we do. Whether they were the worst form of criminal for that community, or whatever the case might be, we gotta have some set of dignity and we gotta have some sort of dignity. That is not what we should be doing, posting people being murdered on cameras or on Facebook and so forth. That doesn't show or augur well for investors looking into the country. And when we talk about investors, let me make it clear. People always thinking that investors, there might be people coming from Japan or China. They are Liberians philanthropists. They are Liberian entrepreneurs. Our part of the world that want to move back in, they want to go back in, but they look at the risk factor. There's something we call the risk benefit analysis. Look at the risk factor and look at all of those things, and say, okay, is it worth going to the country? They want to go. But I'm saying those are images that we don't need to be putting out there. We are rebuilding. We are trying to govern our sort of the necessary resources we have, and in part of that, we got to be also the security, the law enforcement or security forces play a major role too, my brother. It's not just the ordinary citizens. They need to understand this. You said earlier that Liberia, if Liberia is to develop, each and every one has to play a part, and that includes law enforcement. They got a major part to play. You know what I'm saying? How they react to crime scene, how they react to calls, and so forth. Is very, very important to the process.
Mhm. But another thing is that the the police response to crime, how timely, not the issue of rape, how timely are they handling rape cases? Is there a faster put for those felony crime? You know, the record of justice in the country will also encourage investors. I mean, the court is responsive and the court is adjudicating case on time. When anybody violates your right, you can run to the court and get a redress and express how the person actually enjoy you. You know, the issue is how responsive is our court system. The investor depend on our justice system, which is characterized by insecurity. So number one, the way we adjudicate cases, because I think the Supreme Court, with all due respect, the Supreme Court is very has proven to be independent to some extent. They have tried to come up with their opinion for apology on many occasions, still be corrected. But I think the Supreme Court need to be supported more, and they need to be free, of political influence, and understand that what they are doing is for the good of the country, for the good of the people. Because justices in country decide the fate of people. They decide they can change people's life by one decision. You understand? So that those places shouldn't be places that will be occupied by people who don't want to live with legacy. People who just want to live in a moment. You know. So our justice system really need to be looked at. And secondly, the police in our country, they are high enough training. I don't think training is an issue now. I don't think training is an issue. The issue in our country now is we need to put technology into our security environment there. And you remember when I was suggesting the last time about the government introducing a kind of a computerized system. The city is talking about camera in all government ministries. They can also computerize all government ministries and make sure all the computers get a hard drive on a server. and those server, you know, all those computers are managed by the server, and those server save all the information on a storage center at the executive mansion. So you network all government ministries and make sure all government employee be computerized, and they can input, they get a report or get document out of government system through the computerized activity. Now, if you do that, you bring about credibility to some extent because people know that the system cannot be manipulated. Now, it can encourage people to pay taxes. That is the intake of taxes. And another thing again, you got to look at how you spend the taxpayer money too. Spend money on the things that directly impact the people's lives. We understand. We understand roads construction is important. We understand, and I can't rule that out, but I'm telling the truth. Mr. Greer, road construction is not as important as it is when it comes to bread and butter. If the people you're constructing the road for are not secure, they are being harassed every night by criminals. They can't get food to eat. They walk by land to go to the market and come back. They don't have jobs to do. How relevant is that rule to them? I think for small money you got, stratify it in the immediate impactful activities that the people require. Number one, the security. If you don't want to use your budget, a simple way to raise money to support security and education in Liberia is simple. You can come up with national policy and make sure that every county, even though the national government will replicate, like if it's every county will be based on population because most Liberia got a lot of population. So we can say every county. But if we say that the local real estate taxes that are collected from people who got property, who got land, those taxes must only go to the provision of security. That means to service the police, provide them all of their equipment they need to do detectives work, to come up with crime, to have pathology and determine the death, the causes of death. And the police will have an ambulance, the police will have a hospital. Those things that will get the police equipped and responsive. If we want to have them, we can stratify our domestic revenue intake. And the more you do that, the people noticing that the taxes they pay, the funding directly things that benefit in their life, you encourage them to pay more.
Now, I'm going to say this, Mr. Jala. Let me add this. Let me add this before I forget this quickly. You see, I mentioned, Mr. Jala, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mentioned something earlier about police community engagement, right? Remember I mentioned that earlier, right? And you may have experienced that in North Carolina. Um, when the police have integrity, okay, when there is integrity in the police, in law enforcement to be specific, when there's integrity in law enforcement, and law enforcement is involved in community engagement, the interacting with their community. The community can be able to fund the police or law enforcement. A lot of times you hear the police union, the police association, they are waiting for funding. You know what I'm saying? So that's another way to be able to raise revenue to support police in their fight against crime and so forth like that. But you don't have no engagement with your people, the people that you claim you quote unquote protecting or you providing public. You don't have that engagement with them. Look at just recently. I just want to share this. The Bass senatorial election that Mr. DeLong won, and you saw the level of support that came from the Liberian people to his campaign. It means that same level of support can come from the Liberian people to law enforcement. That same level of support can come from the Liberian people to the judiciary system. That same level of support can come from the Liberian people to go to any. any other agencies in government, if they have the issue of integrity and they are working and engaging the people, the citizens. You understand? They have to do that, and that's another way to raise revenue. Revenue is just not just getting money from taxes. I agree with you on that aspect, but they gotta see themselves as people who are responsible and have integrity to go to their own citizens and talk to the citizens to help them out. That works.
I mean that is the point, that sounds good, but it's a great. Sometimes we gotta set a priority. The police gotta be equipped first. Then,
Yeah.
as part of their effort to make sure they reach out to the community with their services, then they can be told now to get the community involved with their policing. But now, as we speak, there are a lot of things still need to be done to help to enhance the police operation in that country. Not men who go back around and put terror in people. I think Labrador put on one wall that group over there called police. There's not anything there to stop any civil unrest. There's not anything. Because they're not structured in a way that they should be. You understand? If we understand that our basic social amenities are being financed directly by things that we know that we can consider as part of our income, because taxation is the function of income, you know, and your wealth, everything you got can be taxed.
So I
So
agree.
if
So
you,
now
mhm,
I agree. So Mr. Jala, the question that comes to mind I want to ask you quickly again is, what are the benefits of being a public servant, being a law enforcement officer in our country? Well, what are the benefits other than pension? What do law enforcement officer benefit? Or soldier that's in the street, assigned in the street, what are the benefits?
that's why we're having a conversation, because what we are even suggesting to these guys that running the country now is that, look, decentralize the revenue collection, and also make sure you provide incentive for collection. The incentive to the public will be that, look, hey, we agree now that taxes paid from this sector will finance these social activities. Now, because mind you, we said Liberians will pay Liberia. Let's say outside, if all can equitably contribute to the economic drive of the country, the economic requirement to move ahead, and it can be expended in a transparent and equitable manner. I tell you, if we keep doing that, you will experience the growth process on a regular basis. But here is the problem. When they raise the small revenue, they're very irresponsible with it. The small one is raising, the small one is raising. When they raise that small one, you know what they want to do with it? They set priorities that are not in the interest of the people. And they specify part of the money there to budgetary allotment that will only go back to them. Look at a few people pass bill in the house that say they will college education will be free, treasury education, because some of them building university, some of them building university, so that every year government will just take the money and dump it in their account, So the pass law for them. It becomes lawful. It becomes legal that every year you must dump the money in the man's account because he got university and he giving public education. What kind of country we got so? Why you the small money you got, where you spending it to benefit you alone? You think the country will advance that? And what I said from the beginning, I said every one of us in our country, we are importing for the growth and development of our country. We are we are each one of us are vital part of our country's success. You understand? And we are in a very, 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 very important period in our country history now. At this time, where we got social media, where we got so many ways to convey information to the rest of the world, and we are sitting quiet in our homes, in our area of comfort, and allowing evil to continue to reign. The God is saying that evil will continue to reign when good men sit and do nothing. So we want to encourage all of us. You know, it is very important for us to come on this platform and discuss some of these myths that our country has been ran by for decades, centuries over decades. It's important. All those who feel the God, they went to Harvard University, they get PhD in Liberia study, they get an economy. I can tell you one thing, that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're enjoying, so long you were born in Liberia, when Liberia is cursed, you are cursed. Let me let you know today.
So
So long you
just
were born in Liberia, you gotta get this clear, because this was proven from the Bible.
yeah,
That Adam born on earth, but Adam was
I
a
agree.
man. Adam was a man with two eyeballs, one head, one mouth, two ears, two hands, 2 feet. All I know like Adam, we told his sin we all passing around with him.
Yeah, the
God
one man had to come and
to take you and make you born in Liberia. He no man mistake. He know why. The children who born in the other country, he know why he born in here. He would have given us there in Liberia.
absolutely.
We are born places for different reasons. And I think it's about time that we Liberians in the diaspora elevate our voice and say what we want for our country, the country of our nativity. And that is why we're discussing it today. The police can be funded by basic infrastructure in Liberia. Real estate tax can sponsor our police. Real estate tax can educate our kids. We can have free education for real estate tax. We pay our teachers good. Every home in our country will get a flat rate based on the location of the home. We say every year you pay one. When you pay the money, you go to the cover. That cover will make sure in the community the money in a place that to hire the right teacher to teach the children, to put all the equipment they want there, to fund the police and getting all the biometric equipment they may need. But guess what? They will not allow the BB car there on the street. They will not build BB homes and be passing around like rich people when they were very poor before they ever took government job. So because of the kind of greed there, they will not allow it to happen. Mr. Gray, I'll tell you one thing. Africa is not poor. Greed is a cause of poverty in Africa. Greed is a cause. You see, and these police guys are doing well, they are struggling. But their wealth has been challenged by politics. You think the people will take themselves in Liberia, they will want to go join something where they know they're getting nothing from other? A passion getting guys in uniform. They want to serve. But the support is not there in such a country, such a condition. That's why you see them, they will still wear the uniform and go the wrong society the way you're looking. And we are saying no. Let's give dignity to our people, our men in uniform. Let's invest in the police. If we can get the money for our budget, let's stratify our taxes. Then we'll widen the net for more revenue intake, in fact, because more people will be interested to pay in a cohesive manner than in the enforcement manner you want to. Because most of the time, your Liberia government has tried to enforce people to pay their taxes, and they fail because they have no legal ground to do so. Number one, you're not even playing your part, bargaining as a country towards a citizen. How effective are you in providing security for your people as a government? You're not protecting the people. You're not providing basic social services for them. Every day, anything going on and coming up. You will go stay for them to take taxes. You will go jail them and like their property to take taxes. You know, commercial people, you have to do that kind of thing though. So the reason why you don't want to enforce on your own people for paying taxes because you are playing your part as a government to be responsible in expending government resources. The way you take care of government property, the way you take care of government belonging. You take government thing, you misuse it when you say, oh, that government property. Then other people looking at it, they don't want to be paying taxes. That's what we say. The way we encourage paying taxes is to make the public understand that certain taxes will go to certain activities that directly benefit their life, like the police, like the community schools, like the provision of basic social services, better water and light, electricity and water. Tell people say, okay, then yeah, we collect 70 million from real estate tax. The 70 million we spend it on the school, or we build a new school, or we build a new hospital in the community. We do the one in the community and see whether when you go enforce on the people, they will refuse to pay. They will pay. It's so great, but the
Well,
problem is how people don't think.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think we run out of time, Mr. Jada. So let me just say this lastly, and then you could conclude with that. I think we enjoy peace and stability for a long period of time since our civil unrest, and I think maintaining the peace and security and stability of our country is paramount. And it is my hope and prayer that we work together as Liberians, both the law enforcement agency and the citizens. And we shouldn't allow politics to divide us. If you allow politics, it can be very divisive. But let us understand that we are all Liberians and we all are important to the growth and development of that nation. Be
Mr. Grace, I will try to conclude. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you who tuned in this evening, took up your time to join our conversation. We hope that some of these days, you guys will have the opportunity to share in some of the conversation. This is just a platform for us to discuss uh, our mind, our experience, and those things that I would think we need to do as a country and a people to move Liberia forward. Like Mr. Gray said, Africa will always call it dark continent, because it was not because of the color of our skin, but it was because of the poverty of our mind. That's why Africa was called the continent. We are poor in our mind. We need to upgrade the way we think. We need to stop. But now the time has come for us to make a difference. And we believe we will make a difference. We may not be taken seriously at a certain point, but we are determined to ensure that we continue to speak to the issue that affect our people's lives. And so today was another great opportunity that we share in with you guys on the other side of the audience. And we will encourage you to tune into the show next Tuesday at the same time, as we will be coming up again with another interesting conversation. Mr. Gray and I will have an opportunity to bring other guests in. We will bring them in. But we will be discussing, as usual, our opinion of the situation that is going on in Liberia. And so we want to say thank you to our audience for tuning in. We want to say bye bye and have a great week. And see you next Tuesday. Thank you. Bye bye.